All right, in this video, I'm going to show you step by step of how to assemble this US General 4-drawer tech cart. It'll be a time lapse of the process of assembling it, and I'll show you step by step how to add the 5th drawer to do this modification to the 4-drawer tech cart. I took the 1 drawer from a service cart. That's the 1 drawer service cart that US General offers, and you can see it fits nicely in the frame of the 4-drawer tech cart. So in case you're wondering how to do it, I'll show you step by step in this video how to do it to make the process easy. And be sure to stay to the end where I go over some more details as far as making the assembly go smoother with the US General 4-drawer tech cart. All right, step 1 is going to be installing the wheels on the base of the cabinet itself. And you do need to make sure that you do install the swivel wheels on one side and then the fixed wheels on the other, like I show here in the video. It doesn't matter which side is which, just as long as you have the 2 on one side and 2 on the other. The next step is going to be installing the legs. So you got to make sure that there's arrows are facing upward. Otherwise, you'll have the legs installed upside down. And then step 3 will be install the side brackets. And then step 4 will be placing the box onto the legs. And one thing I did not show in the video is how to install the struts, but I will explain in detail later in the video about the struts, so be sure to stay to the end. All right, so I wanted to explain a few things here. So I would highly recommend, if you don't already have like a ratcheting wrench, this would be a perfect use or a perfect excuse, I might add, to maybe get a set, especially in the 13mm, because there's no way of getting a ratchet in here on these side bolts because of the wall next to it. And I wanted to explain, so the bottom holes here do mount the handle, and the handle goes on the side where the casters are at. So just to give you an example, this is how tedious it is to tighten these nuts with a regular wrench. So I definitely recommend getting some ratcheting wrenches, like I mentioned. It'll help save a lot of time. At least for the front corners, you can get to 3 of them by a ratchet, whereas the lower one, you still have to use a wrench. All right, so I got the cart fully assembled, and it's ready to go for installing the 5th drawer now. All right, so now I did unbox the 1 drawer service cart. I'm gonna be ready to install the 5th drawer on the 4-drawer service cart. Now, one of the first things you'll need to do is remove the bottom drawer, which is easy to do. There's a side latch right here that you press down on the little plastic clip here, and that releases it. But you have to press down and pull out at the same time. We'll see if I can do it on camera while I'm holding the camera. So that released it. And you got to do the other side too. So on the left side, you have to press the lever up instead of the other side is pressing down, and then that releases it like that. So I'll allow you to take out the drawer. As you can see, removed on this side. I had to get this other side now. All right, so this is what it looks like with the bottom drawer removed. And it's gonna be, the 5th drawer is gonna be mounted on the side brackets, the front and back ones. So you have to drill into these in order to mount the 5th drawer. And here are the bolts, what it looks like. So there'll be 4 of these. So obviously take it from the service cart package. You'll need 8 washers and then 4 nuts. All right, so next you want to take the drawer out of the service cart, and then you want to take the actual drawer out of the frame itself. And it's going to be the same process, which actually on this one, it's actually the opposite. So this one you press down on the left side, and then the right side you press up. So it's the opposite of the 4-drawer service cart. You'll be able to figure it out. It's just, it goes one way or the other, and then you're able to slide it out. Now I think to make it easier would be to lay it down like I did here. I have the Franklin 1,000-pound lift cart, in which you could just set it down on the ground, but I recommend putting down like a truck pad or something to protect the surface of the cart. And like I said, I think it'd be easier to do this while it's laying down. And so this is what it looks like in preparation. So now I'm going to place the frame of the 5th drawer inside of here. I'm going to mark the holes on this frame where to drill at. Okay, so the next step is, if you decide to lay it down like I'm doing, then you will need a couple of clamps to hold it in place, because otherwise this will go down. It's not fully flush when it's laying down, and I want it to be flush with the frame of the box in the front here. So I did have to use a couple clamps to clamp it in place, and the reveal on the side here is a 1/2 inch on each side, so that way you can take the guesswork out. And that's what it is, a 1/2 inch on each side. So I have it clamped flush, and now I'm going to mark the holes in each corner where there's pre-drilled holes in this frame, and I'm going to mark it onto this frame of the 4-drawer cart. I just have a pencil. It'll probably be easier to use a marker. All right, so I unclamped the drawer, the lower part, and just moved it down to the bottom, and so it revealed where the markings are. And you see this one runs into like a rivet, and it runs into a rivet on each side. All right, so I had to remove the bottom drawer again because these holes were interfering with rivets to the top part of the box, and so I had to mark new holes and drill new holes. I moved it over basically 1 inch from the center part of the pre-drilled holes, so I went over 1 inch, and so that way it won't interfere with the rivets that are in the top box. Now I did use a drill bit that's the size of 5/16, so just so you know the size you need to pre-drill them, and it works perfect for the bolts to go right in. All right, so now I have it back in place, got it clamped up, 1/2 inch reveal on each side, and I'm gonna go ahead and mark where I need to drill at, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to drill it in place because this lower bar here interferes with the drill. And obviously it would be better to use a marker to mark the holes. All right, now I'm going to unclamp it again. Looks like I'm going to have to remove it again. Which, if you are working on the ground, it's going to be a bit more difficult because you need to be able to have it to where I have it off the cart, to where I was able to angle out the corner of the shelf. So just be aware of that. You might have to prop it up if you do end up laying it down on the floor. Right now, I should have enough room to work and drill. Obviously be careful with the metal because it's going to be sharp and hot. And if there's any burrs after drilling it, just take like a razor blade or a screwdriver and knock them off. And then be sure to check the other side too. And it'd be a good idea to go ahead and vacuum out the metal shards. That way they don't get in the way. All right, now we can place the drawer in and see how it fits. So as I said, you definitely need the extra space down this corner so it can poke out a little bit in order to wedge this in place. All right, so you want to run the bolt in from the top part. You want to put a washer on first, and then you'll have a washer and a nut on the other side. Which these are also 13 millimeter, just so you're aware. And what I would do is I would go ahead and just kind of hand tighten it until you get all the bolts in place. I'm putting this one in blind, so. All right, I'll come back once I have them in place. All right, so now I got the bolts in, and now I just need to go back and tighten them. This is my perfect excuse to be able to use my new Icon wrenches that I just got on sale for the ITC deal I just had. So if you're not already subscribed to my channel for tool deal videos, be sure to subscribe. You'll be notified when I do the deal videos. And again, this is 13 millimeter. Okay, I got them all tightened up now, and it is secure. So I'm going to go ahead and lower the cart, put it up right, and we'll put the drawers back in, and it should be good to go. All right, now I got the drawers ready to go in. You kind of want to put the slides out a little bit, so that way you can start it into the slide, make it a little bit easier. The bracket from the cart wraps around each side of the bracket that's on the drawer. You want to pull these out and push that in until you hear the clicks, so that's secure again. Hear that click, another click. There we go. Oh, I have to unlock this in order for this bottom drawer to fit in, because I have this locked. When I went to lay it down, I locked the lid so that way the lid won't fly open. So just so you're aware of that. Because the lid has to be open in order to close the drawers all the way, and then the drawers do lock when the lid is closed. Like that, see? And yes, the bottom drawer is going to be keyed differently. Very good. And I'm sure I'll get asked this question, so just so you're aware that the space between the bottom drawer and the lip of the bottom tray is about 5 3/4 of an inch. So you do still have some space to be able to store some boxes below or other tools. All right, so that's all there is to it. It's just a little bit of a process to have to drill new holes and line them up and bolt it down. But it's just those 4 bolts that hold that drawer in place. All right, I wanted to give some tips to help make assembly a little bit easier. So one of the things I would highly recommend getting is a set of ratcheting wrenches if you don't have already. Well, it'd be specifically a 13 millimeter ratcheting wrench, because all of these nuts inside of these cavities are not reachable by a regular socket with the ratchet. So I definitely recommend a ratcheting wrench, which I don't have any, and I'm actually kicking myself in the rear for not getting any during the last Icon 40% off sale that they had back in December. So it took me a good amount of time to tighten these nuts up with a regular wrench. Now, one of the things you could do is when you first start the screws is to start it on the outside here and just hold the nut in place with your finger, and then twist the bolt through the nut to where you can hand tighten it, and then tighten it the rest of the way with the wrench. The other thing to pay attention when you are assembling this, which side you're going to mount the strut to. It's going to be on the inside of the box side, on each side, so that way the strut does not interfere with the tool storage on each side. Now, I noticed at the store, which someone had commented seeing one of my videos about the US General boxes, is that the store actually had the struts mounted on the inside, so it would interfere with any screwdrivers or other tools or pry bars that you would store on the side. So definitely pay attention to which side you put them on. And you will need 2 13 millimeter wrenches, one to hold the nut that's on the inside here, and the other to tighten the nut over here. Again, I didn't have enough space with the ratchet to be able to fit between the lip of the lid here and the nut. So you will need 2 of those, or maybe you can get away with using an adjustable wrench on the one side and then the wrench on the inside there. It is a narrow space between the strut and the metal bracket. Now, the other thing is too, when you're assembling this, is pay attention to the metal lip of the box right here. This metal lip in the corner legs, this lip has to overhang the leg itself. When I first put the box on, I wasn't paying attention to that until after I got some screws in place and bolts, and I had to undo them, and I had to lift the box back up and had to fit it in on each corner here. So just make sure that the box outer lip is overhanging each of the legs, because it does help support the box in place instead of just relying on the bolts itself. And I know the instructions did mention, like, if you go in order of how to assemble everything, I do recommend skipping the step, and as soon as you put this box up right and put it in place, go ahead and mount the struts onto the lid itself. That way the lid will stay in place. Otherwise the lid is going to want to fall back while you're trying to put the bolts and nuts in place to help secure it to the legs. All right, so here it is all completed. As you can tell, it looks pretty good. It looks like it's supposed to be there. I think it turned out nice. I look forward to having that 5th drawer with added space. It's gonna be nice. Something to keep in mind is that it will be keyed to a different key versus the main key for the other 4 drawers. I imagine you could switch it out to one that matches. I'm not sure how much that would cost, but it would be an option. All right, so here it is, fully assembled and ready to go. And here's the 5th drawer. As you see, it opens nice and smooth. I look forward to using this cart. So it's a great opportunity to be able to add this 5th drawer to a 4-drawer cart, especially if you happen to have a 4-drawer cart already. Then all you have to do is buy the 1-drawer service cart for, it's right now retails at 130 bucks, but just pay attention to sales in the future. Like, for example, at the time of filming this, there's going to be a deal on 25% off of all US General carts. So you could save 25% off on the 4-drawer cart, as well as 25% off on the 1-drawer service cart. And something to keep in mind too, since this was used from the 1-drawer service cart, is that you'll still have a service cart to assemble. You just won't have the 1 drawer for it. So you can still use it to organize different tools or cleaners or whatever you want to put on it. So you still have a second cart to have, which will be nice. And I think it's a great opportunity for people who already have an existing cart, and they can expand it instead of having to upgrade to a whole new box, and to be able to do it at a minimal cost compared to a new box. So if you gained value from this video, if you learned how to do it, and I'd really appreciate it that you do give it a thumbs up, consider hyping the video, as it does help spread the word and helps the channel out. And consider subscribing to more videos like this, as well as DIY tips, tricks, and tool deal videos. I really do appreciate you watching, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks so much.